What's going on, guys? Today we're looking at a pair of sneakers you won't find in many places. That's because they're exclusive to one place in particular. They're also an exclusive collaboration between a generally out of reach price point brand and a global luxury designer brand retailer. The shoe we're looking at is none other than the Off-White SSENSE exclusive low vulcanized sneaker in green. Yes, that's a mouthful, but Off-White is no stranger to SSENSE exclusives and just exclusives in general. In fact, earlier this year they released an exclusive capsule collection with luxury retailer Wilderama. Louisa Villarama. Please don't send henchmen after me if I pronounced that wrong. Not to mention the countless collaborative sneakers they've released with Nike, permanently ingraining them in sneakerheads' minds for decades to come. And the list of collaborator goes on, but for the sake of this video, we're focusing on the Off-White SSENSE exclusive vulcanized low tops. While this exclusive release was recent and released on August 15th, the Off-White vulcanized low top sneaker has been in existence for about 2 years now, and while these SSENSE exclusive pairs were priced at $455, a price that is nothing to write home about, the initial pairs that first released in a surprise fashion a couple years ago didn't retail for nearly that much. If I recall correctly, they released on Off-White and SSENSE website and probably several other websites and retailed for approximately $120 US. For anyone who remembers this release, feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Now, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe Off-White just wanted to give us the kicks for a steal price because they were at peak growth for the brand and it was a way of showing their gratitude to the fans of the brand, or they weren't really sure how to price them at the time and wanted to add a more wallet-friendly offering. Looking at their offering since, they obviously chose not to go that route at all, if that was even what they were considering. The two colorways from the original release that dropped for a low retail price, the black and white and the white and black colorways, for lack of a better way to distinguish them, have since been restocked several times and are now on site for the higher retail price of $345 US and 455 Canadian. The SSENSE exclusive pairs released in 3 colorways, blue, green, and yellow, or as I like to call them, the poor rich man's MCAs, the grass is greeners, and the expensive omelets. Now, while the blue colorway sold out relatively quickly, probably because people had the same idea I did and took them as a consolation prize for missing out on the MCA Air Force Ones. Weird how that works, doesn't it? The green and yellow pair are still in stock, and if you want a pair, I'll leave a link in the description for you to get them. However, the only way to get the blue pair now is to go through resale platforms where they're really not selling for all that much over retail, so you might be able to get them for a decent price, so I'll leave a link in the description for those too. We're gonna get into why these sneakers even exist shortly, but before I do that, let's go over the materials real quick. Despite what I feel about the price point, I actually really love this shoe, but because this is my first true Off-White sneaker, I'm going to start with a true unboxing of this sneaker. So starting off, as you can see, the box is this color that you normally see on a raw material before it's worked on. I can't really think of the material off the top of my head, but that's what it reminds me of. Then we have some signature Off-White text on various parts of the box. On the side of the box, we have SB in big, bold, bright orange text. I think it stands for shoebox, which if that's the case, I'm not entirely sure why it needed to be so big and emphasized. There goes that Duchamp toilet bowl influence again. On the other side, we have this card stuck on the box that briefly describes the brand and shoe and material in sentences, which I thought was really cool. As soon as you open the box, you're greeted with a similar colored canvas dust bag. Kinda looks like an old school potato sack with Off-White branding. Peel the tissue paper back and there's the shoe. The upper of this sneaker is made of relatively common materials. There's nothing here that will surprise you, at least I don't think it will. First, we have this bright evergreen that makes up the mid panels, the top of the toe box, the ankle collar, and the tongue. Now on the inside mid panel, we have some text reminiscent of the design cues on Nike Off-White sneakers that is partially obstructed. It's just the address of Off-White's design studio in Italy, you know, in case you ever want to visit. The second material is this suede on this darker forest green that makes up the rest of the toe box, the eyelets, and the heel counter of the shoe. The suede feels nice to the touch. It's not ridiculously hairy and doesn't have a lot of nap to it. The tongue is canvas, it's thin, and it has print on it with Virgil and Off-White with the saying created on Earth, designed on a planet, which honestly, as much as I want to believe Virgil has an ounce of profoundness buried deep inside somewhere, just a little bit, like a teeny tiny drop somewhere in his lanky towering frame, this phrase just goes to prove otherwise. Virgil, if you see this, it's all love. You know I'm playing. Please hire me to help design your shoes. Just kidding. Maybe not. The back of the tongue has the European size of the shoe, which is wonky in and of itself. For designer shoes, 43 typically is a size 10. Even on Off-White and SSENSE website, it states that a 43 is a size 10 US, but the box states 43 is a size 9.5 US, which is even weirder because for most sneaker brands, 44 is a size 10 and 43 is a size 9. And to top off the weirdo meter, even though these are labeled as a size 9.5 US, which is half down from my true size, they still fit big, but we'll get into that later on. We have all black laces with the infamous ominous shoelaces text on the shoelaces, but only on one side this time around. Guess they decided to cut the 3 cents worth of ink from production. That's what I call cost efficiency. The outer mid panel has this plush black cross off-white logo stitched onto it, and in pure off-white fashion, it is being overlapped by the dark forest green suede panel above it. And no, don't you worry, I didn't forget about the pretty little red zip tie hanging from one of the eyelets. Another signature off-white touch. We have a pretty plain off-white branded insole, but the real surprise is when you take this thing out of the shoe. Look at that. Now that is a chunky insole, and it's pretty comfortable too. I haven't had a chance to break it in, but no Vans shoe will come close to having an insole this thick in it. Come on, I know you all were thinking it too. The midsole of the shoe is made of a vulcanized rubber and is literally what the name of the shoe is a direct reference to. The majority of the midsole has this alternating dark and light green pattern resembling a crosswalk, but what you'll notice is the dark panels aren't just painted on, they're actually a second layer of material overlapping the first layer. I thought this was a cool detail versus just painting them on. The front of the midsole has a more subtle but still aggressive rib design, and the inside of the midsole houses this oversized red piece that layers onto the upper and overlaps a bit of that text in textbook off-white fashion. Ha, get it? Because off-white in fashion? Yeah. And finally, we have all evergreen outsoles. Now when it comes to sizing, I haven't really had much experience with designer sneakers, but I've universally heard from everyone to size down a bit, and I'm not really sure why this is the case, but it just is. I decided to take a chance with these and went for my true to size 10 or EU 40, but not only did it end up being a size 9.5 US instead, it still fits big, which leads me to believe I would have to go to an EU 42, which is typically a size 9, but in this case would be a size 8.5 US. Also, these shoes are only available in full European sizes, not in between sizes, which is why I have to go from 43 to 42 instead of like 42 and 2/3 or however that messy sizing system works. Look, all you need to know is go down at least one size on your European size if you plan on buying these. Link in the description once again. When it comes to comfort, don't expect anything out of the ordinary. The materials of the upper of this shoe are pretty standard on many other classic shoes. Vans. I will say they do feel a little thicker and more well built. I will give it that. It has a bit of a premium feel to the material, so maybe there's something there, but it probably doesn't do much else in terms of comfort. I will give this shoe credit for having a thick and cushy midsole, which will definitely help your feet on those long casual walks you might end up taking. Something tells me these will last longer than a pair of Vans. Just saying. So the way these shoes came about is a bit of a mystery, but it has often been rumored that the off-white Vulc low tops were the creation of an Off-White and Vans collab that never happened. And because it never ended up materializing, Off-White ended up releasing a shoe that's very similar but modified it to be its own shoe. Off-White isn't really known for collaborating with many sneaker brands other than Nike, and the only other footwear brand I can really think of right now that they've collaborated with other than Nike is Timberland. Yo, deadass, you got my Timbs, fam? So the scenario doesn't seem plausible. However, who knows? Maybe that was a route they were planning on taking early on. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Now, we've been questioning a lot of mysterious and not so mysterious aspects about Off-White's past, but you don't really hear much about that anymore. In fact, you don't really hear Off-White being discussed as much at all anymore, and it's leading me to question, is Off-White still even relevant? I mean, look at their recent releases. The Off-White Kygers, they were a nice shoe. I loved the design. I thought it was probably one of their best, but where's the excitement? Where's the energy that resonated on their previous releases? It was lacking on that release. Of course, we had the Off-White MCA Air Force 1 in the Papa Smurf colorway, and that was ridiculously hyped mainly because of how limited it was. It was a silhouette from the initial The 10 collection and the fact that it was associated to the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Chicago. I question whether anything that's not part of that already cemented history will ever keep that same energy from Off-White. Maybe I'll expand on this in another video, but let me know what you guys think. Now, all Off-White bias aside, personally, I'm a huge fan of this collaboration with Off-White and SSENSE. SSENSE, as you know, is a Canadian-based retailer, so I have a little bit of pride in that because there aren't that many out here. I know it's just Off-White's Vulc low-top sneakers in 3 vibrant colors, but it's these vibrant colors that give these shoes life to me. They've released in various other colorways in the past that I find frankly uninteresting and uninspiring, but the bright green is what does it for me. The only thing holding me back from fully recommending these is the price, but if the price isn't an issue for you, I'm sure there's a bunch of you that have paid way higher resale for certain shoes. The link is in the description. Go ahead and grab your pair. These are a banger pair of kicks. Sometimes a simple design and bold colors are king. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think about these kicks, and I'll see you in the next one. Picsoleated is making some essence.